thank you all for coming out to my speech. So I would like to think of myself as a very automotive-minded guy. Cars and trucks, I've worked on them, and I just find them very interesting. But with that comes, I have taken an interest in the big three, and that being the Ford Motor Company, the Chrysler Automotive, and GM or General Motors. But of those three, Ford has really been remembered in history for some of the things that they have done for future help in their company. And because of this, as you know, their vehicles are still on the road today, as you can see them around town and around the country even. All of my audience, you guys, have either probably been in or owned a Ford vehicle in your lifetime. So you at least are familiar with the brand and understand what they do as a company. But with that, I'm going to tell you in this speech what they make as in their vehicles, the benefits that Ford has done with their employees, and the benefits that they have done with production for all companies, actually, most that are in production. In a book review in 2014 of the book, The Man Who Saved the V8, The Untold Story of Some of the Most Important Decisions in the History of the Ford Motor Company, an important decision was made convincing a boardroom of Ford executives in 1949 that the V8 model would be necessary to put the company back on top. Now, in this time frame, a lot of foreign companies were bringing in these vehicles that were fuel efficient, compact, and cheap. And Ford still had their V8 models, which were not selling because, well, with the competition, people weren't buying these more expensive vehicles. And so the boardroom was thinking about Xing the V8 model for all future generations of their vehicles. Now, after being persuaded to keep them, it actually helped save the company because with these higher end vehicles that people were interested in, it caused them to buy into the brand at a lower vehicle to aspire to get the higher vehicle, and it caused brand loyalty, which helped put the company essentially back on top in sales where they were before. And in an interview in 2003 with Douglas Brinkley, the author of Wheels for the World, he is asked about one of the most effective innovations that Ford helped introduce, which was the $5 a day payment for Ford workers. In this time frame, the minimum wage was lower than about about $2. So Ford was wanting to increase sales, as a company would, and have less turnover rates. And so with that, the company decided to up the amount that they were paying their employees because it caused less turnovers and more people wanted to join the company. And because of that $5, they're like, why would I go anywhere else? So they stayed, and turnovers was less, but with that extra cash, they were able to actually go out and buy a vehicle. And so Ford sales went up because of brand loyalty from company members buying the vehicles. In a book from 2001, The Ford Motor Company, it talks about one of the advancements that Ford helped introduce, which was one of the first assembly lines, making the production of cars faster and less expensive. So before the assembly line, there would be a vehicle sitting in one part of the plant, and the workers would have to go to another area and walk across the plant to bring the parts to that vehicle to build it. And with that, it was less organized, took longer, and then there was no specialization because the employees would do 15 different things on that one vehicle, so they wouldn't have any idea of how to do this more properly or faster or effective. And after the assembly line, the vehicle could come through in one line, and all the parts would be at that each step. So an employee would be able to take it, put it on, and it would move on to the next one, and they would continue to do that one step. So the efficiency for the vehicle would go up because the employee would become more efficient at that one thing. So it would help in that sense of speeding up production, and other companies took this into account and made it a part of their production process. And so that helped production across the board with Ford itself and other companies, but Ford was able to help flagship that. So like I said, most of you have probably owned or been in a Ford and knew about the company, but now with this new knowledge, you might be able to help make yourself more aware of when you're looking for another vehicle, a Ford as an option. And if you have a friend who's looking at one, you might be able to inform them of some of the great things Ford has done in the past to help with future sales, and that they'll be more knowing and willing to buy a Ford if you explain to them why they should. And I hope you all have enjoyed this ride down memory lane.